Hello and welcome to day 7 of 64 Days of Truth. My name is Ti0. I'm the founder and CEO of the Infinite Zero Experience, and today completes one of the 9 weeks of this experience. And today I'm inspired to speak about your purpose, your role, your mission, your calling. And are these things different? Are they the same? And what is our attitude about us and others when we are following our mission, when we are following our calling, when we are living our purpose versus when we are not. And to begin this conversation, I would like to say that our purpose is not just one big thing of our soul. A lot of people that I work with struggle with this is that they are looking for this big grand purpose, and that's usually the soul's purpose. The soul's purpose is usually big, it's grand, it's a mission, it's a calling. But while we are, I wouldn't say finding, but discovering that purpose, while that purpose is being revealed to us, the journey of discovering that purpose doesn't mean that that's the only purpose that you have in this life. We have many purposes in many different contexts. And when you start looking at purpose from that lens of what is my purpose in this situation, what is my purpose in my family, what's my purpose with a certain friend, in my relationship with my partner, with my children, what's the role I'm meant to play in society, that's when you start going bigger. That can come into your soul's purpose, and it can also just be a not soul, not divine purpose, and it's just your purpose in society, in civilization. And I feel like this is a very important point to understand is that we have a role in society. And when we don't own that, and I can speak from experience, this is a thing I'm not very proud of my past, but it is true. It is who I was, and I also learned a lot from that and I evolved from that. But the truth about who I was someone who would judge people who were not doing something big and grand. People who were playing small roles, small in my eyes, but I used to see them as small, insignificant, and even use very harsh terms like their background characters. And a lot of people use this language. A lot of people still look at the world in this way, and there are even terms which are used like NPC, which is non-playable character, which is like basically in games you have these background characters, and this is something that's also being driven into children today because a lot of games include these NPCs, which are insignificant characters, and there's a lot of violence against these characters, and the whole perception is that if you are playing that role, if you're playing that character, you are insignificant and you don't have a purpose, and it kind of diminishes the humanity. But what I came to realize, it was very humbling, was that it's a very important role and a very important purpose that people play in keeping society and civilization running. It's like if these small roles are not being played, civilization literally collapses. It actually collapses. And to understand that, it's very humbling that even the smallest roles are extremely significant to keep the world going. And if you are playing one of those roles, Whether it's temporary, whether it's permanent, whether it's short term, whether it's long term, it doesn't matter. Whether you've played it for a certain amount of time in your life or you're still playing it and it's been a long time, I want to honor you and I want to tell you that your role is important. Don't diminish it yourself. Don't allow others to diminish it. Don't feel less than because you are playing a vital role. We feel we hear so many narratives about people who are just living on the treadmill, repeating the same thing over and over again. And if people are not doing that, everything literally collapses. So you are actually playing a very important role in keeping society going. Just honor that, realize that, and value that. Value yourself for doing that. And I know of people who are doing both. They are playing their role in society to keep society going. Because what is society? Society, civilization is exchange. I am doing something and playing my role so that many other people don't have to do it, so that they can play a different role and we can build something much bigger. But if I have to do everything on my own and you have to do everything on your own and everyone, every single person has to do everything on their own, where does that leave us? With no time to do bigger things. So people who are playing small roles actually facilitate us to create much bigger things. One of the roles I value most are caretakers, whether it's my the caretaker for my property, whether it's my housekeeper. I grew up in India, and over there it's very normal to have a housekeeper. I grew up with a housekeeper all my life. I had a babysitter, and she was there till 5, and then we had other housekeepers, and it's a very normal thing in India. Everyone has it. It's not this upper class thing or anything. Like we are a very normal middle class family, and we had a housekeeper, and there was a point I believe where one of our housekeepers had a housekeeper. Is that normalized that it really at all levels is normal for people to be keeping to have some help with keeping the house so that they can go do other things. Literally, the housekeeper has a housekeeper so that she can go earn money for her family and give a part of that to someone else to take care of her family while she's away. For me, this is what keeps society going, is that everyone is playing a role, everyone is collaborating, everyone is fulfilling a purpose to keep society going. And if you are someone who hasn't seen this up until now, I hope that you can understand the importance of this. And we are entering this age of AI and robots where a lot of menial work is being replaced. And it's only happening firstly in some parts of the world. In other parts of the world, life continues to be the same. And even in the parts of the world where it's being replaced, I feel like even if it's being replaced, we should not forget that whoever is playing those other roles, which are considered to not be some big purpose, they are very important roles, including people who are in public service, who are working in hospitals, in the law, in government, and all of this. There's so much negative perception about public services, but the people who are working there, many of them are very good people, and without them, again, society collapses. So, my purpose for bringing up this topic is for us to realize that we all have some role in society, even if we integrate integrate robots into society. It doesn't end human purpose. It just changes, it evolves our purpose. We also have purpose in relationships. There's such a big loneliness epidemic happening. And that's, I believe, a lot of it is because we've stopped valuing relationships and our role in a relationship, that we have a role to keep the relationship alive with our friends, with our family, with our loved ones, and to create new relationships and feed them. Feeding a relationship is a responsibility. It's not something that's automatic. And there's a purpose in that too. It does fill your soul, it does fill your heart, it keeps you happy, it keeps you healthy to have real relationships. Not with robots, which is just mental entertainment, but real relationships, real human connection keeps your heart healthy. And there is a deeper purpose in connection, in relation, and you are playing a role with others. When you are feeding them, they are feeding you. Your heart, your soul is important. So there too there is purpose. And now we can step into the conversation about higher purpose, a higher calling, our soul's calling. And I'm going to use purpose, calling, and mission, these three words. A calling is simply you are literally being drawn to something. You know that there is something bigger, there's something out there that's calling you, literally. There's something that's actually calling you. You feel it in your intuition, you feel it in your instincts, you feel yourself being driven towards something, even if you don't know what that is. It's like a magnet that's pulling you towards it. And when you receive the calling, it may come with a lot of clarity and you know exactly what is calling you. And sometimes it's just calling you to go on the journey of discovery. And when you do discover it, that's when the mission is revealed. And your mission gives you a higher purpose, not just in society now, but in the world as a soul. What's your divine purpose? And for me, understanding this is about understanding what is the divine doing here. And this is a much deeper discussion. And a part of it, a part of it is inspired by my own experience, my own uh, wisdom, my own intuition. And another part is inspired by this guy, Sri Aurobindo, and this book is called The Integral Yoga. And he talks about um, manifesting the superconscious on earth, or in other words, manifesting the divine on earth. And the way I understand this and the way I have experienced this, that's why for me I say it's partly because of him, because I've had the same visions, the same intuition, the same downloads, and it was just resonance and confirmation when I read this book that essentially what we call, a lot of people see these visions of higher dimensions of heaven, of realities which are this higher perfection, higher order realities. A lot of them are visions, a lot of them are etheric realities, they are lighter, subtler realities which are not as dense as form, as matter. They are literally visions, imaginations, and for those who are not much into spirituality, I will explain this. Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter. But essentially, everything that is materialized here starts as a vision in someone's mind, and that vision starts becoming an idea, a concept which is given more and more life, more and more energy, and is built into something concrete here on earth. That is when the vision gets materialized and manifested. And now, for those who do believe in something higher, whether you believe it or not, there is a higher dimension which has been imagined by something much bigger. And for me, that is You can call it God, you can call it the divine, you can call it our souls in the collective that have imagined a much higher reality. It doesn't matter who has imagined this reality, but there is this much higher reality, this much higher order of reality where there's a lot of harmony, a harmonious reality, what is called a new paradigm, the new age. This is the vision that is manifesting on earth. And this is what a lot of people are called to. When they receive their calling, when their mission calls them, all of a sudden there is this realization of there is something much bigger that is meant to be manifested on earth. And that bigger thing is meant to be built and materialized. We are meant to create a higher order reality right here on earth. This is about creating heaven on earth. And this is a very important concept to understand because there are three ways in which people talk about it. First is the afterlife. We will die here and we will go to heaven. This is the most well known and most common and the most also currently disbelieved version of heaven. Disbelieved in the sense from the skeptics and the rationalists. But of course, the religious people still believe in it big time. There's a lot of people who believe in different versions of heaven, afterlife. The second way in which people talk about it is experiencing heaven on earth, and that is simply about creating the state in your inner world where you experience peace, you experience joy, you experience love, harmony, bliss, ecstasy, all of that on earth, no matter what is happening. And this is a very crucial stage, but it's a stage because this is what leads to the next stage, which is creating heaven on earth. So the first stage is the vision of heaven. And a lot of people get caught up in the vision and then they believe that they are going somewhere and that will happen after they die here. And then we have created this whole system of how to get into heaven, and let's not even get into that. But essentially, what has been happening for the last several thousand years is that people have had visions of a heavenly reality, which is a higher order reality, a more perfect reality, a more harmonious reality. It started as a vision in another dimension, which is manifesting here on earth. And in order to manifest that vision, we first need to become beings who can create such a reality. And that is the second stage, which is the embodiment of the frequencies of the state, the mindset, the emotional intelligence, and all of it, where you can experience the state of heaven as you then start building it. It's only from that higher frequency, it's called a frequency, but this higher, more evolved state of being where you actually experience joy and love and peace and bliss and harmony, that you can actually create that in the world. Because otherwise, we are living in fear, anger, shame, guilt, hatred, separation, essentially. And that is what we keep creating. We build companies that are in competition, we build countries that are in competition, we build religions that are in competition rather than collaboration. And that is the higher dimensional order which is manifesting where everyone is in harmony and in collaboration. And this is the soul's purpose. This is the soul's calling. This is the soul's mission. And each person has a different role to play in manifesting this higher order reality. A lot of people, their role is to help people to embody the frequencies that will enable the creation and the building of this higher order reality. Now, this higher order reality is most well expressed and experienced in luxury. Why people are so drawn to luxury, the material luxury, is because that is a manifestation of the higher order reality where everything is more pristine, more clean, more uh, rich, more It just gives you a feeling of abundance. This is why all of these topics are spoken about in conjunction: abundance, luxury, and higher order frequencies. Because when you're in the higher order frequencies, you don't want to create things that are um, disharmonious, that are kind of dysfunctional. You are living in a state where you have created harmony within, where everything, all the disharmony and disorder and chaos has been brought into order, into a higher level order. And that simply means that all of this chaos has been resolved. And what you experience as non luxury, let's call it, is this chaos and this disharmony. Because that is what we end up creating when we are using the lower quality stuff, it's lower frequency stuff. All of that is just a representation of the frequency from which we are creating. So when you build a company, but within that there's constant disharmony and disorder, and the employees are not happy and they're arguing with each other and they're competing with each other and they're backstabbing each other, and then they're not happy with the managers and the managers are not happy with the employees, and all of this disorder is taking place. It's simply because the frequency of that company, of that organization, is in the lower frequencies. And that's because the creation has happened from lower frequencies. Basically, the founder, the entrepreneur, the team that's at the highest level has not created harmony within the organization. You've created a structure which breeds disharmony and discontent. And that's why a lot of the work that I do and that a lot of other coaches are doing is with entrepreneurs, is to help them to first become someone personally who is living in a higher order, where you are experiencing harmony in your life, where you are experiencing peace and bliss and joy and love. And then you start seeing your entire company differently, your entire organization differently, your entire team differently. So even managers, high level managers, low level managers, everyone who's managing people, everyone who's emanating order. uh, the order has to emanate top down, and it cannot come from bottom up. The order is created from the top. So whatever is the order that's being emanated, if it's lower frequency order, it will create chaos at all levels, or at whatever level it goes lower frequency. And if it's higher order that is being emanated, it creates harmony at every level. Things just function organically, things just function in harmony. People collaborate, people work together, people love working at the company, they're helping each other, they want the company to flourish, they want the company to thrive. They speak well about their job, they're happy at their job, they are recommending it to people. They don't feel insecure, they don't feel that they may lose their job in any moment. They are not in the scarcity mindset, they're in the abundance mindset because the company is doing well. All of that is happening because we are in a higher frequency where we are creating rather than being in scarcity and fear of things breaking down and us losing the competition and all of this. You're constantly in the generator mode, you're constantly in the creator mode. You're creating solutions, you're creating opportunities, you're just moving forward, forward, forward in expansion. That is a frequency. That's the higher order frequency that I'm talking about. And all of this comes from the soul, is the soul's mission. So creating businesses, creating organizations, creating anything is part of the higher dimensional order. That is part of heaven. Businesses are part of heaven. I call this soulful capitalism. It's, heaven is not just these palaces where everyone is playing harps and dancing naked and eating fruits. That's one version of heaven that we have been given from 2000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, that's what they could imagine. That's what they could envision. The world has moved. There is place for business, healthy business, sacred business, evolved business, business that keeps the world thriving, that keeps the world in harmony, that keeps civilization growing. It's a very beautiful thing, entrepreneurship and business, organizations, building healthy organizations. This is the calling, and each person has a different role to play. There are some people who are meant to help create the order in organizations. They are the people who are playing the roles of coaches and mentors. I am such a mentor. I also train other such mentors. I have colleagues who are other such mentors. I have mentors who are such mentors too. And there's a big need for people playing this role too, who first learn how to embody these higher frequencies and then teach that to so many other people who need to learn this. Now we can understand the scope of how many people need to learn this, that there will be a very big demand as we go into the future and we start realizing that yes, these are the types of organizations that are meant to be built. That's when we will start creating this higher dimensional reality at greater and greater levels. This is for for me, this is an introduction to the topic, and this is still very theoretical. This is an invitation for you to go much deeper with this, either in your own contemplation or in mentorship with me or finding someone else who will help you to find your soul's calling, your soul's purpose, whether it is in helping others to tune themselves to higher order frequencies, or you are one of the builders, one of the creators who are making matter, making materialize, making manifest into companies, organizations, teams, government units, public services, whatever it is. If you are one of the builders, also, I invite you to do this from a whole different level of consciousness, from a whole different frequency, from a whole different reality, so that you are part of building a much better reality, not the same which is feeding the old paradigm of fear, hate, separation, competition. But you are part of building a reality in collaboration, in harmony, in beauty, in luxury. And luxury is going to have a completely different definition 20 years from now. Luxury is going to be higher frequency. Luxury is going to be harmony. Harmony is a luxury in this world. Feeling peaceful, blissful, joyful, loveful, all of that, what I call higher frequency, is a luxury in this world. If you contrast it with feeling lonely, feeling sad, depressed, anxious, fearful, shameful, guilty, angry, hateful, if you contrast that with feeling love, peace, joy, bliss, ecstasy, trust, harmony, it's a luxury. This is the new definition of luxury. And in 20 years, a lot more people will be using this as a definition of luxury. And the material luxuries will just be a representation, a reflection of this inner state. They won't just be things to buy with money, they'll be things to experience first from within. Because this is what we speak about so much in the culture, is that rich people are empty and they're depressed and they feel purposeless, and they, like, money doesn't buy uh, happiness. Yeah, it doesn't, But once you experience this inner luxury, then you can actually experience and enjoy the material luxury. It's not you can be happy and you're living in a cave, which is the narrative we have been given. We have been given this duality. Either you surrender all your material luxuries and you go live in a cave, and there you will find nirvana and bliss and joy, and you become a Buddhist monk and you give up all your material luxury. Or you have to be rich and empty and soulless and purposeless and depressed. No, there is a third reality. There is a middle reality, and this is what I teach. This is what many others teach. Is you can have the inner luxury and the outer luxury. One doesn't come at the cost of the other. One enhances the other. Because I don't want to be happy and broke. What's the point of that if I can be happy and rich? Neither do I want to be rich and depressed. What's the point of that? I would rather be rich and happy. And it's possible. You can have both. That's what my whole business is about. That's what all my teachings are about. That's why it's called the infinite zero. It's the duality is brought together. And tomorrow on 5 of May 2025, I'm unveiling something very exciting, very big, which is the a new vision for my brand, which encapsulates everything I've been talking about over the last 7 days, over the last 7 months, over the last 7 years, for a long, long time. But this is finally, and I found a way to represent it, and I'm going to be unveiling it tomorrow on 5/5. So, very excited for that. You can tune in tomorrow, and I will see you there on day 8 of 64. Thank you for joining me today, and see you next time.